We're going to check out today what's happening with Office 2010, and we're also going to check out Windows 7. Running everything on Windows 7 and Office 2010. Pray for me, I'm running alpha of Office 2010, the technical preview, so anytime you're running anything in that early stage, it gets exciting. And I actually have the release manufacturing RTM of Windows 7 running as well here. I also have a little toy over here today, we'll show you a little bit later. It's the new multi-touch Windows 7. So in other words, this is a multi-touch tablet that actually allows you to touch the monitor just like an iPhone. So with 2 fingers, and we'll check that out a little bit too. So you can kind of see the full picture of what's hitting the market. So, let's first talk about Office. The Office, of course. Office 2010 won't hit the market for a little bit. Let's first talk about date. Microsoft is set to release it in the 2nd quarter of next year. So we're probably looking at April, May, June, maybe April Fool's Day. It's up to how good the product is. We'll have to see. But let's actually take a look at what they're first doing with the Office product, and then we'll get into a little bit of Office with Windows 7. I couldn't resist. They can't call a TV show anything like this and not bring that in, right? So with Office, and if you notice the slides right here, I'm also using PowerPoint 2010. So if you're noticing some of the different transitions as we go here. So let's hop in here and take a look. But first of all, let's kind of talk about their thoughts. Right now I've installed the technical preview. It's pre-beta. I've always heard the term alpha, but with Microsoft they call everything pre-beta, technical preview, whatever. What's interesting is Office 2010 for the very first time will come out in 32-bit and 64-bit versions. Now, for the average 95% of our users in Lynchburg, 32-bit is going to be fine. But for those power users in Lynchburg with 64-bit, it will assist you in running programs such as Access and Excel if you have large data banks attached to that. So in other words, it'll exceed some of those things. In other words, in the past we've had 2 and 4 gig limitations, and we'll be able to exceed that based on your system that you have set up. So they're not throwing anything out, luckily. They're adding some new features here. So what would be my Office wish list? I'm already pleased with Office 2007, so why would I possibly add something different? Well, you know what I would like is somehow if Office could work more online. In other words, we have these SharePoint servers everywhere, we have all this email, all this connectivity, but yet we all seem to kind of work in our own little cubes in life and work on our setup, and we don't share. It would be really cool if I somehow could go to a machine anywhere and not have to pay for it, and somehow open up my Office document, my Word document, my Excel, and I could even collaborate. In other words, let's say Lynn right here, we'll put you in Paris, France, okay? And you need to work over here with Jane, and Jane's over in Kuala Lumpur. And so they could go online and work on the same PowerPoint and collaborate in live time. You say, Corinne, you just explained Google Docs. Yeah, Google Docs has that capability. So Microsoft better catch up here. Not saying that Google Docs can do all the same things in that environment. Okay, so what about cell phones? All these capabilities, we've been kind of ignoring them. Actually, this is the 14th version of Office, although that's a lie. So what do you mean, Office 14's a lie? Well, Office 2007 was the 12th version of Office, yes. And Office 2010 is the 14th version of Office. What are we skipping here, everybody? 13. Well, it turns out Microsoft has trichodecaphobia, and they have skipped that number entirely. So don't let them fool you, okay? So there will be 3 versions of Office hit the market late next spring. The traditional one that we're all comfortable with, Office 2010 Client, will be the fully installed local product that we're all used to. And finally, with Word, Excel, PowerPoint Access, OneNote, and Publisher, they're finally all making consistent ribbons. So it's not like one has menus, one doesn't. That was kind of silly. What's new to us here, though, is Office 2010 will now have a web application. And it will not need to be installed. It'll be cross-browser, which means it's available on a Mac, on Safari, or it can be available on Mozilla Firefox or on Internet Explorer, several versions. The idea behind this, and we'll see it in just a moment, is that you'll be able to do lightweight editing of your document, very similar to Google Docs, to be absolutely honest. So, and guess what the price tag for the second option is? Shockingly free. Did you hear that? Good thing you're sitting down, okay? They will have it available for Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and OneNote. Access a little rough on a web app access there for now. Office 2010 Mobile, a cell phone version that allows you to edit your documents. And people say, well, how can you type on a cell phone? Oh my goodness, you haven't seen the iPhone generation. I was just seeing this gentleman over here right before we got started, checking email, answering it correct, and twittering and so forth. So editing a document is just not that far out there. Why not have that capability to do those things? So let's get started here and actually see this stuff for live.
From the top. Ready?
Ready. So our first thing here is I want to show you what the Office Live thing is. I'm going to open some of this live in just a moment. What we're actually going to see is with any browser, you'll be able to open a Word document and not only open the Word document, but collaborate through either Windows Live or SharePoint Server. I think SharePoint Server makes sure you go to that presentation at the next set coming up soon. So that's going to be a pivotal to all the new Office 2010 products. The idea behind it is I will be able to access all of my Office files online anywhere, even on a client machine that does not have Office installed. So therefore I could access that SharePoint document, open it, edit it, pop it back in, and collaborate. Right here on the left side of any browser, I'll be able to click Edit, and it will open in your browser environment without Office being installed locally whatsoever. You'll be able to open your document, and look right here, we get two ribbons, the home and the insert, for example, in Word. You say, why aren't they giving the whole thing away free? Duh. Okay, but to be able to open a document, do some lightweight editing, most of your editing features are under home and insert pictures, all those kind of things. And for the power users, they'll need the local install. But other people will be able to just hop right on here. You'll be able to save locally. I'm going to pop this out over to the internet right now. Microsoft has already started to create this new anomaly. If you go today, it's already up. It's not fully functional. I'll show you what it can and cannot do at this point. OfficeLive.com is available right now. Here's what it has for you. You could log into Office Live, any person, any business, no cost involved. The idea behind it is they can, first of all, give you cloud computing space, often called a SkyDrive. And everything's headed to this cloud concept. If you're new to the idea, the easiest way to put a cloud is, you know, we're carrying USBs around, we're saving things on our network, but it's tough to get to those. You leave your USB behind. I have a USB in the Minneapolis lounge last week, still sitting there, I'm sure. We leave things behind. So therefore, if everything is stored on an internet-based environment, it'll be easier to store. So they're giving everyone 5 gig of space, not a bad start for our personal environments. So we'll be able to go to OfficeLive.com. This is available to you right now. And I'm just going to log in right here and show you what it looks like. You just create a free Windows Live ID to sign in. I can place any documents in this Office Live workspace, not only Microsoft Office. So I could actually store movies and pictures and anything up here as a nice little backup. And added feature to it when Office 2010 goes live next spring is I'll not only be able to store my documents and view my documents, but also edit my documents without a locally installed client on board. So this environment is coming through. So I can now open the documents. We'll just open something here. I even like storing my folders here, the same setup that I would have on the local machine, so it kind of mimics that same environment. So we're seeing this. It'll be nice to have all this. At this point, you can share with a file with a different person or a group of files with a different person. You can comment things and so forth, but it doesn't have the full editing feature until Office 2010 comes about.